So some people have asked what kind of materials it takes to be able to start refining. And really, that's a very broad question. Um, it really depends on how far you're going to go with this. But let's start with the basics of what you will need to even just start things. We'll start with PPE. So we'll start with our nitro gloves. These will be great for anything uh, slightly corrosive, all the way up to concentrated sulfuric acid. But if you start getting into nitric acid, these things will catch on fire. So you want to upgrade to a vinyl or actual chemical resistant rubber glove. I've torn mine, so I'm going to replace them soon. If you're going to be smelting, you're going to want some heat gloves. Those are very important because you don't want to burn yourself. A respirator. So you want to make sure your cartridges are rated for acids and toxic chemicals. There are many different types of cartridges you can get. So if anyone can maybe put the 3M model, this one's a 60926 cartridge. I started with this one, but wearing this with the safety glasses just started fogging up. I didn't like it. So I moved on over to the face shield with the cartridges. This is great because even working in a fume hood, there are times that you're going to take things out and there are going to be fumes coming out and your skin will react to that. It'll look like when you went skiing for the day and got like a windburn. So I moved over to this kind of mask and it's worked wonders. I don't have any sort of windburn problems anymore, which is great. So I recommend this over the standard respirator. That way you don't have to deal with the safety glasses. Another thing you want to get is what do you call this thing? A squirt bottle? I don't know, but it'll work great for cleaning out your beakers, cleaning out your filters, that kind of thing. Basically, it's got a spout that goes right down. It's hard to see, but it's got a spout that goes right down, so you could tilt this thing at any level and be able to squirt water. I don't want to squirt it into my drink, but we'll squirt it over here. Works great to be able to clean off filters, clean off beakers, that kind of thing with excess gold containing material. Another thing you might want is a mortar and pestle. Works great for grinding down your incinerated, ground up IC chips, BGA chips, those kind of things. I also use a blender, but the blender gets dull real quick with this kind of stuff. So mortar pestle works great. Coffee filters, that's another thing. Important to have. Be able to filter out any of your particulates, any of your gold containing foils when you're filtering off your acids. I got these cute little Home Depot buckets. They probably hold 500 milliliters. And then I got a little party pack of shot glasses, which I'm using for containing my precious metal containing electronic components. Obviously, I'm not doing large scale, or you'd want something bigger, but this is working just fine for me. Let's see here. Well, your distillation apparatus, I mean, that's getting down the road when you want to start distilling your acids, as well as if you want to make your own damn distilled water like I'm doing right now, learning how this whole thing works. That's not necessarily a requirement though at all. That's just me being curious. We're gonna go to propane torch. MAP gas works much better than propane as far as melting down metals, but what works great is a furnace. So I've got this electronic furnace down here. It works okay. It's very limited as to space. It's got a, let's see if I can get this here. It's got a 3 kilogram crucible, but you're very limited to the size and shape of what you're going to be melting. I'm eventually going to make my own furnace, but I don't have the money for that right now. Another thing is a hot plate with a stirring capability. It works great to be able to stir your stuff while heating it up. Now, unfortunately, this one doesn't get to the temperature I need, so it's kind of been abandoned. But if you invest in a decent one, it will work for what you want. Another thermometers. I have a Candy thermometer here. Unfortunately, it is metal, and as you can see, when you're dealing with acid, it does start to corrode away. So you want to be using this for something that's non-corrosive. For corrosive stuff, a glass thermometer works fantastic. I've got one right inside of my sulfuric acid here. So that's glass thermometer. And it gets up to 200 degrees Celsius, which is perfect for what you need. Hot plate, that's another thing you want. A Pyrex or Corning dish to be able to protect your beaker that you're heating stuff up with. Because if you put it directly on the hot plate, it is prone to cracking. At least this way, if it does crack, it's going to spill into the Corning dish and not all over everything else. The next thing is beakers. My God. You don't realize how many beakers you actually need. So I've got a couple 100 milliliter beakers, a whole bunch of 600 milliliter beakers, which are the ones I use the most. This one's a 1,000 milliliter beaker. I dropped my 2 liter beaker, which I'm really sad about. But that's another one you want. Glass stir rod to be able to stir your stuff and not worry about your rod corroding. Some high density polyethylene bottles to be able to store your acids. So this stuff will be able to handle highly corrosive acids. So I've got my one for 93%. Oh, another thing is your MSDS stickers. You want to know what's in each one and the proper handling of each acid. So I've got my sulfuric acid, my baking soda, hydrochloric acid, and lower concentrate sulfuric acid. Another thing is a Buckner funnel. So, I got a little bit of gold in there. So this is my gold containing material that I haven't stored yet. But basically, you put a filter paper inside of there, and it will filter quite, depending on the one you get, but you can get real high micron filter paper for these. They just sit inside your beaker, and it'll filter through. You can put this inside of a vacuum flask, so it'll actually suck the water through a lot quicker than a standard beaker, just letting it gravity filter. So there's that. No, we'll get to the acids a little later. What else? Let's go to tools. So for tools, if you're going to be extracting electronics off of circuit boards, there's a few different tools you want. So you want some sort of a adjustable plier to be able to pry off different components. Wire stripper / cutters to be able to cut off any wire that is attached. Tin snips, they work great for pretty much anything. Phillips flathead, Torx, different size flathead. You can get these all in a whole kit. Needle nose pliers and some angled needle nose pliers. These ones I actually use the most. I hardly ever use a standard needle nose pliers because these can get into the tight little spots and be able to get your components pried off. Tweezers. Oh my god, tweezers. I've gone through so many of these things. So these are the ones that are left. This one was actually about an inch longer, but it's been used so damn much that they got worn away. So I moved on to a precision set, which I probably wasted my money on, but it works great for particular things. Heat gun. So this will really help you get your IC chips and your BGA chips off of circuit boards. You can pry them off with a chisel or a flathead screwdriver, but a heat gun works a hell of a lot better. And storage containers. So you're going to be collecting a lot of different electronic components. And storage containers are going to be what you can separate your electronics with. So you're going to want a bunch of them. Graduated cylinder. I use this. The only reason why I got this was to be able to measure the density of my acids to be able to figure out the concentration. This is a lot more precise than a beaker as far as measurement goes. So I picked up a graduated cylinder. Probably didn't need 100 mils. I'm really only measuring to 10 mils every time, but that's what it came in. I did pick up a couple glass flasks just to hold my stuff. So this is tin powder to be able to make my stannous chloride. This is gold powder that hasn't been filtered or refined yet. And then this is jet dry. Jet dry is a great tool to use when you're trying to sink all your gold into the bottom of your beaker or your flask or whatever you're using. It breaks the surface tension of the water. Oh shit. All right, well, let's pretend that didn't happen. Another thing, crucible. Different size crucibles. This is a tiny little crucible that I've been using to melt things. Works great. With your crucible, you're going to want to get borax to be able to prepare your crucible. You want to get your crucible nice and hot, and then you sprinkle on a little borax, and it'll seal it up and prevent any sort of cracking in the future. Oh, what else are we at here? That's kind of the gist of it. I mean, Erlenmeyer flasks, beakers, very important. You're going to be using them all the time. And what else we got going on here? 5-gallon buckets, they're always super handy. Don't mind the snowblower. It's minus 20 and cold, so we need a snowblower. I also have one of these clicky thermometers. I just dropped the batteries out of it, but it works great. It's not nearly as accurate as a glass thermometer, but it's what I've used. Muriatic acid. So that's your hydrochloric acid. You can pick that up at a hardware store. It's in the concrete aisle. They use it for concrete etching and cleaning. What do we got behind here? Oh, more flasks. We've got some isopropyl alcohol just to help clean things up in the end. More baking soda. Scales. So I've got a couple different scales. I've got a general kitchen scale, which is, it doesn't even go to the tenth of a gram. It's more a general scale. But if you want to get a little bit more specific, you can get another scale that goes down to 1/100th of a gram. And this is great for measuring your gold or anything you want to measure, really. It works great. Yeah, so I think that's about it for the materials. I mean, you don't need all of this stuff to start out. I've been slowly building since September, and it's now almost March, but one step at a time. So that's a general idea of what you need to start refining. You also need a little bit of space because this takes up a little bit of space. Pardon the mess in this garage, but this shelf is full of, aside from my electronics, other gold materials. Like I said, you don't need this all at once, but it gives you an idea of some goals to look forward to, what you might want down the road, depending on what you want to do with your components. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any suggestions, feel free to throw it up in the comments and we'll go from there. In the meantime, let's get that gold.